Forms are a part of web applications. Forms are normally parts of web pages. So as developers, more often than not, we'll be required to provide some form on site or website or web applications that we create for customers or for clients who are logging onto the website or web application that we are asked to create, to be able to feed in data to be recorded into databases for whatever reason that might be. So in this tutorial session, we are going to learn how to design the simple form here, where we will look at how to position this image as well as this input tags here. Alright, so we are going to use HTML markup language, the CSS, that is a cascading style sheet, and then the Bootstrap library to be able to get through this tutorial. Now also the color codes that I'm going to use throughout the entire tutorial are listed here. With that out of the way, let's get into our IDs and start to code something. I have created a folder on my desktop called wire registration. I'm just going to open that up, and then you can see I have these two files already inside the folder called, one is the bootstrap.css, that's a Bootstrap library, and this is an image file that we are going to be using. So I'm just going to add one more file called index.html. Alright, now let me just generate the boilerplate for HTML by holding the shift and an exclamation key on my keyboard, and then it will generate the boilerplate for me like that. So let me just change this one to responsive registration form. Okay, alright, let me also make sure that I link the Bootstrap library to the file or the index page. So I'll say link :CSS, then I'll hit tab, then I'll change this one to bootstrap.css like that. So having done this, we've successfully linked this library here to the file we are currently in. Now first and first, we need a container, so I'll say .container, and this container, I'm going to say that positions should be absolute, and then on a medium screen I want it to occupy a space of 8, and then start of this container should be 50, and then the top should also be 50. Okay, and then let me translate this into the middle part, and then margin on the x-axis I want it to be auto. Alright, so having done that, we need a row inside this container, so class of row, and then inside the row we need columns. So as you can see here, we are having two columns, one for the image and one for the input tags. Okay, so first of all we need one column, so I'll say called LG, it's to be 6, so on a large screen occupy 6 of the columns, and then in this one I'm just going to say that img, and the source for this image I'm saying that img.l.png, img-l, I guess. So let me go and check out. So let me save this thing anyway, so I'm just going to hit on this go live here. Okay, so I'm already having this image here, that's fine. Now let me add one more class to this image and say that it should be img fluid, meaning it should be responsive. Also let me just say that left image, we are going to be using that for further styling in our style tags. Okay, Alright, so having done this, let me actually go on and then add another column. Say that LG6, and I'll say this one should be the right content. Okay, let me add this one to say left content. For the first one, let's say left content. Okay, now in this one, let me say I need another class called IMY. Margin on the top and bottom should be, I want it to be 4-4. Okay, and then I'll say input of type text. So this one here, I'll say that should be the first name. So placeholder first name. Okay, and then we need to apply some few classes on this one as well. So I'll say class, this should be a form control. So before then, let's go and look at how it is before we add. You see how it is looking. So when we add this form control, look at how it changes to look like. Good. So these are all Bootstrap classes. So I'll say that I want this one to be rounded fill here. I don't want any shadow on this. I'll say shadow none, and then the padding should be 2. Let me say 2. Okay, so I think that is okay for now. So let me just copy this one here and then paste it down there. Now set this one with the last name and this one last name. Okay, let me paste one more. We also need the email, so this one will be of the type email, and then let's say that's email and say email for the placeholder. Let's see what we've done so far. Okay, so we have 3 input fields. Now let's continue to say we need 2 more input fields. This one will be for password, and then let's say password, and here to the placeholder 2 should be password. Okay, and then let's paste once more, copy this one and then paste it once more and say that the name should be confirm password. Let's say that confirm password. Okay, let me just say this one here, and then we need, let's change this one to a button, so a button to do the submission for us. And we are saying that, okay, let me just get rid of this entire thing and say button. We want the type to be submit. Okay, and then we need some few classes on this one as well. So btn, so that is a Bootstrap class, and this one should be btn danger, and then say register. Let's see what we are having so far. Let me add one more class, which is going to be the width, should be 100, and this is what we are having. Okay, now let me just say that when this one as well should be rounded fill, and then the padding as well to be 2. Okay, alright, so let me add one more class to this one and say that btn register, and also the whole of this div here, let me just collapse it, and then on top of it let me say form. So let me cut this part and then come beneath the closing tag for this. um, the input fields, and then have it like that. So what we are trying to say or do is that whenever we are implement search forms on our website or our web pages, it needs to be inside a form tag, because that way the web browser will be able to know that okay, the things that are contained inside this form tag are actually forms. Okay, they are input fields that will be submitted to a web server, or wherever it needs to be submitted, like that. Okay, so it needs to be inside a form tag. That way it will be rendered properly, or it will be interpreted on the web pages properly. Alright, so having done this, let's start to target the stylings of the page. So as you can see, we have this one here. The background of this page is kind of dark, a grayish, a gray like something. Okay, so I'll say that let's pick this color here, and then let's target our body. So inside our head tag, I'll open a style tag, and then I'll say body. On the background color should be this one here. Place the important keyword on it. Okay, so let's come back to, okay, so actually something has distorted. Let's see what might be the cause. Form here, and there is this here. Okay, so let me just try and comment this one out to see if it solves the problem. Okay, so let me just try and then say I want this one to, not that one, this form tag, let me bring it somewhere here, and then should be at the top as well, so that we see the output. Okay, so this is working fine. Alright, so let's target first, let's target the right content here. Okay, and say that dot right content, because it is a class, we are preceding it with what, a dot. So we want the background color to be this one right here. So let's see the changes exactly. Okay, now let's say that for the left content, okay, for the left content, we are saying that the background, we are saying that border radius on the bottom side, border radius on the bottom, want it to be maybe like 20 pixels. Let's see if it is taking effect. Not yet. Okay, left content. Okay, let's continue. Perhaps you'll see a solution to that. Now the left image, let's target that as well. Say left image, where is it? Left img. Let's say that the background size, want it to cover, so let me put the important keyword on it so it override any settings. We want the object fits to be also cover, and then we want the height as well to be 100%. Let's see what we are having so far. Okay, so that is for the left img here. Okay, now for the right section, let's say that we want some padding around it to be like 4. Let's see what we have so far. And then for the left content, we are saying that the background size should be cover, object fit cover, the height should also be 100%, like that. Oops. Okay, so let's say that for the right content, we are going to say we want the border radius on the top right. We are saying that we want it to be 20 pixels. Let's see if it works. Okay, so this is working fine. And then for this particular one, a left image, so left content here. Let me say that, let me put the height of 100, and let's see if that works. No, that is not working. So let me say minimum height, and that is also not working. What is wrong? And even the bottom right radius that I gave it is not working. Let me force it and see if it will take effect. It is still not taking effect. Okay, so if that is the case, let me just do this and say that on the left content I want the background to be white. Okay, that way it creates that illusion for me, like that. Okay, exactly. So let me just get rid of this one and see if it works. Okay, so this is what I wanted exactly. So this one is not supposed to be right, but instead left. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. Okay, so we are making a headway. Let's say that, let's increase the padding for this ones to the left content, instead the padding should be 4, and let's see. Okay, that's okay. And then on top of this, which is just inside the the right content, let's say that we have a div which is going to hold the title. So I'll say h2, and then I'll say profile setup. Let me say that the class will be margin on the top and bottom. I want it to be 3, and then it should be text centered. Okay, so let's see. Okay, exactly. And then this one we want it to be text white, because a black color on a blue color is not ideal. Okay, so this is what we've achieved so far. Let's compare to this one. Okay, all right, so we are making a headway. Now let's say that you see how this button is designed. Let's try to achieve the same thing. So we are going to say that .btn register. We are saying that border radius on the bottom, let's say bottom right, we want it to be like 20 pixels. Let's see what that produces. Say important. Okay, so this one should be there like that, and also saying that border radius, we want it to be the bottom, all right, but then we want it to be on the left side. So that one, we want it to be 20 pixels wanted, so that's okay. Let's check what we have. Okay, so this one is top and this one is right bottom, and then top left. Okay, so one should be top left, and then it is instead the opposite. Okay, so let's say that let me say this one should be so border bottom, let's say that border bottom left radius, let's say 20 pixels. Let's see. Okay, this is supposed to be border bottom right. Okay, let's say this one is supposed to be on the right. Let me just comment this one out to see. Okay, so this is taking effect, so we want this one to be on the top. Okay, so we are making a headway. And then this one here, if this one is on the top, this one we want it to be on the bottom but on the left side. So let me just push in the important keyword. Exactly, this is what we've achieved. Let's compare to this one. Okay, so we can see that the background color for the button is so bright. So let's say background color, we want it to be this red shade here. Then say important. Okay, so as you can see, okay, so this one, when we hover over it, when we hover over this one, we get a different field. So let's say .bt and register, studio selector hover, and then let's say that background color should just be this one here, but let's see how best we can make it more popping. Okay, so as you can see, whenever we hover over this is what we are achieving. Okay, alright, so this is what we've been able to do, and yes, that is pretty it. I believe we've learned something. So that is it for this tutorial. Feel free to implement it in your project. I'll be including these files, the Bootstrap file as well as this image, the color codes, all in the description section of this video. Feel free to practice it. And that is it for this video. Thank you for watching and see you another time. Until then, I wish you a happy learning. Bye.